tools you need for this, depending on your pedals, is going to be a pedal spanner, generally 15mm pedal spanner, or a set of Allen keys. So yeah, very simple. And then what we'll need afterwards to service them is some grease, some quality grease, and then for the reinstall will be some anti-seize. Before you start though, one thing that is a little tip from me is if you shift your chain up onto the outer chain ring, that way you've got no exposed teeth on your chain ring, so it's a bit smoother. So if you were to actually slip off as you're trying to undo this and you hit the chain ring, you're not going to get these teeth sticking into your knuckles. So it saved me many times. And yeah, so first thing, put it onto the outer chain ring. It might just save your skin and you a lot of pain. The chain's on the outer chain ring now, and we're now about to start getting these pedals off. So which way do I do them? Everyone seems to sometimes get a little bit confused about which clockwise, anti-clockwise, is there left hand thread, right hand thread. Irrespective of that, and a way to easily remember this is you always undo your pedals toward the back of the bike. So if you can imagine here, I'm applying the Allen key to the back of the pedal. I'll be undoing the pedal to the back of the bike, so it'll be that direction. Okay. Irrespective if I was using a different pedal spanner on the front, I would still be undoing it toward the back of the bike. And it's the same on the other side as well, always to the back of the bike. So dead simple way to remember it, undo pedals to the back of the bike, simple. So we know which way we're undoing them now. We're going to undo to the back of the bike, so let's get this off. You might think, why am I down here and the bike is not on a stand? Quite often, and I'm possibly thinking your pedals may well be on quite tight, or they may have been left on for quite a while. So I always tend to do this job while it's on the ground. It makes it a lot easier because you can put a bit of weight on the pedal to stop the bike moving around. Okay, so let's get that done now. So first things first, pop the Allen key in. So now I can stand on the pedal, apply the front brake so the bike isn't going anywhere, and then reach down and pull. There we go. And that's cracked off. I can now just simply undo the pedal. So quite often the pedal might fight you a little bit because quite often they are over tightened. I have seen that many a time, and also if they've just not been taken off the bike for a long time, because they do get a lot of stick, a lot of weather gets in there, so it can be quite tough to get these off. Two things to remember really is to really use quality tools on this, because last thing you want to do is round off the Allen key at the back or the nut on the front as you're undoing them. Then you're in a whole different world of pain. And secondly, if it's really not moving and it's not budging, and you are at that point of fearing that you're going to round that nut off, take your time with it. And what I've done before is that I've laid the bike down and just squirting on the back some anti-seize spray, come back to it 4 hours later, spray it again. And I've done that, and it's took me on one job 5 days, and all I didn't touch it, didn't try it, just kept applying the anti-seize spray, and just keep squirting in, such as WD-40 or something like that. Keep squirting it and let it soak in, I tried that for 5 days and then it came off. So it does work, but you've just got to be patient sometimes. So the pedal's off, and we just need to see now if it does need a service or not. So what you want to do is just grab hold of your pedal and just spin that round, and you should feel it to be nice and smooth. If it isn't, if it's noisy or gritty, then yeah, unfortunately you're going to have to service it. So how do we get that done? Quite simply, you can see here on this look pedal here, you've got a star shaped nut here. That's what you need to undo. Same principle goes with it. So this would be on the bike. This side, this is the drive side pedal, so you would undo that nut toward the back of the bike. These star-shaped nuts on the look ones, generally a 19mm will fit that. Yeah. So we're just undoing this now, this nut, and what you'll see is now the bearing will come away from the pedal. There you see. So And you can see in there, so that's your pedal and your bearing, all that does, that simply fits in there. So all we need to do now is clean these out and re-grease them. So let's just clean this down first. So you can see all the bearings in there. This is what will be making the noise. If these are dry or corroded, you just need to have a look, but that should still feel nice and smooth, which it does. So with it all nice and clean, I've just sprayed some degreasant in here and give it a good clean out with some rag and left it to dry to make sure that is spotlessly clean. And also the bearing is now clean as well. So yeah, it's time to just pack these with grease now. So we'll start with the bearing. I just like to really pack those bearings in there with some grease. There we go. Wonderful. I'll just set that to one side a second. And then we just get some grease and we really get it in there. In the pedal. There we go. A bit more. In it goes. Just pop that in. So can you see how that's being resisted by the grease? And then we start to screw it in. And then we just screw that all the way up. So once you've tightened it up, you just don't want to make sure you've over tightened it, but a check on that is to make sure that the bearing is still spinning nice and bonny. If you do over tighten that, what you'll do is you'll nip that bearing up and it won't spin nice and smoothly. So that should feel now nice and smooth. So you're happy with the pedal now, it's all been serviced and nice and clean, and the pedal is spinning lovely and smooth. It's time to pop it back on the bike. Before I do that, to make it easier for the next time you take it off, I always use a bit of Anti-Seize assembly lube on this, or, well, copper grease essentially. I just pop a little bit on those threads. You don't need a lot, just a little bit on the thread, and then it's a case of back onto the bike. As before, to undo the pedal, direction is to the back of the bike, so this is toward the front of the bike. All it is it's nice up to the end there, you can just see, little force, and then it's a case of, and that's it. That's all it needs. They have left and right hand threads for a reason, so there's no way, if you've got that threaded all the way through, it's going to undo as the motion of your cycling will actually tighten the pedal. So you don't want to over tighten pedals. It's something that people do all the time. So yeah, there we go.